I'm 81 years old. I say that out loud now because it still surprises me, and because most of the people who once knew me well aren't here to say it for me anymore. I live alone in a small house that feels bigger every year. The rooms haven't changed much, but the silence has. It sits heavier now. I notice it in the mornings, before I turn on the radio, when I realize there's no one to tell about the dream I just had. That's usually when the memories come back, uninvited, and I let them. I'm not telling this because I want forgiveness. I don't think that's how life works. Especially this late. I'm telling it because I've finally stopped pretending I didn't know what I was doing. And because time doesn't feel endless anymore. It feels counted. When I was younger, I thought I was being responsible. I thought I was doing what adults were supposed to do. I worked hard. I showed up. I paid bills. I kept things moving. That's how I measured a good life back then. Motion, progress, being needed somewhere. People used to call me dependable. I liked that word. It sounded solid. It sounded like something you could build a life on. I didn't realize how quiet it was, or how lonely it could become, to be dependable to everything except the people who loved you. I had a wife. Her name was Margaret. She laughed softly, like she didn't want to take up too much space. She used to wait up for me, even when I told her. I'd come home late, tired and distracted, and she'd ask how my day was. I'd give her a shortened version, the kind you give when you're already thinking about the next morning. I told myself there would be time later, when work slowed down, when things settled, when I could finally breathe. There was always a reason to delay, always something that felt urgent, a deadline, a phone call, a responsibility that couldn't wait. Love, I thought, could wait. Love was patient. Love would understand. Our children grew up around that rhythm. I was there, technically. I went to the school events when I could. I sat at the table. I nodded during conversations. But my mind was usually somewhere else, half-packed for tomorrow. I remember my son once asking if I could help him fix his bike. I told him I'd do it on the weekend. The weekend came, and I was tired. The bike stayed broken. He stopped asking after that. My daughter used to leave drawings on my desk. I'd smile when I found them later, after she'd gone to bed. I'd tell myself it meant something that she thought of me. I didn't think about how rarely I told her what those drawings meant to me. These weren't dramatic failures. No one yelled. No doors slammed. That's the part that fools you. The damage was quiet. It blended into daily life. It looked like normal adulthood. Years passed like that. I moved up at work. People respected me. They listened when I spoke. At home, conversations grew shorter. Margaret started going to bed before I got home. I didn't question it. I thought we were just tired adults sharing a life. I can still see her at the kitchen sink one evening, staring out the window. I asked what she was thinking about. She said, "Nothing." I believed her. Or maybe I chose to. The truth is, I didn't know how to stop. Slowing down felt dangerous, like everything I'd built would collapse if I took my foot off the gas. I told myself I was doing this for them, for security, for the future. But the future has a way of arriving, whether you're ready or not. Margaret got sick in her late 60s. Nothing sudden, nothing dramatic, just a slow wearing down. Hospital visits, new routines. I showed up then, I really did. I sat beside her bed. I held her hand. I told myself I was making up for lost time, but there are things you can't make up. You can't rewind years of absence with a few months of presence. One night, she looked at me and said very calmly, "I wish we'd talked more." That was it. No accusation, no anger, just a statement. It landed harder than any argument ever could have. She died a year later. After the funeral, people told me she was proud of me, that she loved me. I nodded and thanked them. I went home to an empty house and sat in her chair because it still smelled like her. I realized then that pride and love aren't the same as closeness. Our children had their own lives by then. Jobs, families, obligations. I didn't blame them. I taught them how to be busy. I taught them how to prioritize everything else. Calls became less frequent. Visits happened on holidays. I told myself this was normal. This is how families work when everyone grows up. Then my son died. A heart attack. He was 52. I remember standing in the hospital hallway, staring at a vending machine, trying to understand how a life could end between two ordinary moments. I thought about the bike. I thought about all the weekends I'd postponed. Grief does strange things at the time. It stretches it, compresses it. It brings old moments forward and pushes recent ones away. I started replaying conversations, wondering which ones would have mattered if I treated them like they were final. My daughter lives far away now. We talk sometimes. She's kind to me. That kindness carries weight. It reminds me of everything she learned to carry quietly. Friends disappeared too. Some moved, some died. Some just stopped calling when I stopped reaching out. I didn't notice right away. Loneliness arrives slowly. It doesn't announce itself. It settles in like dust. Now most days no one says my name out loud. I hear it on the news sometimes, or when the nurse comes by. But it doesn't sound the same. Names are different when they're spoken by people who know your history. I spend a lot of time remembering small things, not the big achievements, not the promotions or awards. I remember a look on Margaret's face when I didn't listen. I remember my son's patience wearing thin. I remember my daughter's quiet acceptance. I used to think regret would feel sharper, louder. Instead, it feels dull and constant, like a weight you stop noticing until you try to stand up. If I'm honest, part of me believed I'd be remembered more than this, that the work I did would echo longer. It didn't. Work ends when you do. People move on. They have to. What lasts are the moments you showed up when no one was keeping score. I didn't understand that in time. I'm not saying I was a bad man. I don't think I was. I did what made sense to me then. That's the hardest part. Most mistakes don't look like mistakes when you're making them. They look like reasonable choices. I assumed there would be more time. That's the thought I keep coming back to. Not that I didn't care. I cared deeply. I just delayed caring out loud. If you're listening to this, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I wouldn't dare. Lives are complicated. Days are full. Everyone is tired. I can only tell you what I wish I'd understood earlier. That love doesn't stay fresh on its own. It needs attention, not grand gestures, just presence, just listening when it's inconvenient. I wish I'd sat longer at the table, asked one more question, fixed the bike when it was first broken. None of that would have changed the fact that people die. But it might have changed how heavy the silence feels afterward. I don't have much time left. I feel that in my bones now. I've made peace with that mostly. What I haven't fully made peace with is how much of my life I spent elsewhere, while the people I loved were right in front of me. If this meant something to you, you don't have to do anything about it. Just hold it for a moment. That's enough. I'll be here a while longer, sitting, remembering, saying names quietly, so I don't forget how they sounded.